Hello everybody and welcome to Free UFC Bet Picks. Thanks for tuning into our show today. We just watched the weigh-ins and the stare-downs, and we are going to just do a quick recap of our predictions, our fantasy advice, and our bets and parlays. So yeah, we do have that full breakdown video hopefully up by the time you're seeing this one.
Yep. We've put highlights in them before. There was a quick little hiccup because of the highlights. So we're uploading it right now so you can hear the full breakdown with the tape study and everything like normal. But this will give you a good idea where we stand, short and sweet.
Yeah. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to do just lightning fast breakdowns here, starting with the prelims, working our way up. So first up, we've got Chase Hooper versus Petr Barrett.
So Hooper's one of the biggest favorites of the week, of course. You might know, if you've watched the other video already, if you follow us on social media, we're not really that big on Hooper, passing on him overall. He couldn't hold down Alex Caceres in his last fight. Now he's a 4-1 favorite to come in and hold down slippery Pete Barrett. He has his nickname because he's tough to submit. Pete Barrett does get taken down a lot. He was getting taken down by Yusuf Zalal, Zach DeSabatino. Barrett had him rocked multiple times, and DeSabatino took him down multiple times. But I think Barrett can get up. I think he's got a decent enough chance that he's going to be able to have good get-ups and use that striking. He's got good kicks and knees, vicious knees. Chase Hooper, if he's not careful, he might catch a Ben Askren knee like his dad. So it's a pass overall. We've got like 20 parlays. One of them has Hooper. None of them have Barrett, but a lot, it's a pass on Hooper in my recommendation.
Yeah, and still think they're decent DFS plays. I think we said they're decent, but there's better plays.
Less so Hooper. I think Barrett's an okay punt, but I don't, at 9,300, I don't think Hooper's going to put up 93 points for you unless it is a first-round submission, which I don't expect. They both look good at weigh-ins. It should be a good fight. Hooper, Hooper should win, but I don't think he's safe at all. This is that Kai Kamaka, Josh Parisian. This is the pass of the week that I think could bust a lot of people's parlays.
All right, our next fight, we've got Tecia Torres versus Sam Hughes.
Yeah, we really wanted to see this one. Of course, Sam Hughes is the biggest underdog of the week. She had trouble making weight in her last fight, but today she looked great. Tecia Torres also looked great. Both had good energy, good spirits. So it should be a really good fight. I do think that Ticia's going to be able to get her down, and she should win a decision. She always goes to decision and wins or losses. Sam Hughes has really good nuanced striking like I was describing. She uses good head movement, feints, footwork. She's got a decent submission game, but she's not going to submit Tecia. This one could go to a decision. Like I said, I predict that, and so you never know what's going to happen with the judges. Sam does have good striking, so it could be a back and forth affair. But Torres should win, but I'd pass on her. She's like negative, -6 something now at this point. And I would definitely pass on her in DFS as well. Sam Hughes is an okay punt because she could put up just a lot of strikes if this fight stays standing.
Yeah. All right, our next fight, we've got Gavin Tucker versus Billy Quarantillo.
This is a really, interesting fight. Tucker was a big favorite from the bookie's point of view. He started out like -190. Now it's, Billy Q that's like -170 or so. They both look great. Billy was high energy. He was shadow boxing, waiting for his turn to weigh in. Extra, flex and a chest pounding on the scale. He looks really ready to go. Billy's got the significant reach and height advantage, and we think he's got the cardio. But Tucker is not a slouch. Tucker's very well rounded, great striking. I think Tucker might have the more pop in round one, but I do think Billy Q is going to win. The over has been steamed, but I think this fight could go to decision for sure.
Yeah. And still think they're both decent DFS plays.
Definitely. Yeah. Billy Q is more expensive here, but he's a stud. Tucker, 7,700. I'd have high exposure to both these guys, but Billy Q should be like, a core play. He should be in the majority of your lineups, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to score higher than some of these people over 9,000 at 8,500.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next fight here. It is Mackenzie Dern versus Virna Jandiroba.
Dern's had trouble making weight in the past, and today she was the last to weigh in. So people were, wondering if she was going to have trouble, but she made weight just fine. 115 on the nose. She didn't even need that extra pound. She had a tiny bit of trouble balancing when she was taking off her sandals, taking off her socks, and sweats and stuff. But she had good energy, good spirits. She jogged off the stage after weighing in. So I think she's okay. This fight is really close. The line is way too wide for Mackenzie. When Mackenzie was like -158, I was putting her in a couple bets. Now she's like -200. I think Virna's got the wrestling edge. The over. I would recommend the over on this fight. That was like even money now. Money's pouring in on that over. So technically my pick is Mackenzie, but I would not be betting on her at this point. Verna's got a great opportunity, and the dog, Jen, our dog, her pick of the week was Verna. So
yeah. And you still thinking Genaro for a punt play on DFS? Is a good option?
Yeah, 7,500. I think Verna could absolutely get multiple takedowns here. Not that, and she's one of the few fighters who would be willing to do that with Mackenzie, right? Mm-hmm. If it stays standing, I do think Mackenzie's got the technical striking edge. So that's the reason I chose Mackenzie and still stand by it. But it's going to be a super close fight, like all these, fights that go to decision in the women's divisions.
Yeah.
But I think that we could see a lot of significant strikes or a lot of takedowns and transitions. Mm-hmm. In FanDuel, you get points for defending a takedown. In DraftKings, you get more points for those transitions. So they might be better DraftKings plays than FanDuel plays.
All right, moving on to our next fight here. It is Cub Swanson versus Daniel Pineda.
Really excited about this one. Big fan of Daniel Pineda. I've got Pineda winning. Pineda's like one of my most confident picks of the week. I've got him in a lot of parlays. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest recent parlays that have placed includes Pineda inside the distance. So I'm really confident in that. Cub looked great. Cub made weight just fine. Looked shredded. Good energy, extra flexing on the scale. Pineda looked super low energy and grumpy. The guy asked him how he's doing and he just gave him a thumbs up. But don't be concerned about that. That's how Pineda is in every fight. That's how he was in the Herbert Burns fight. Literally. Go back and watch that UFC 252 weigh-in if you are so inclined. But don't be worried about Pineda. I think Pineda is a lock this week.
Yeah, and also a lock for DFS.
Definitely. I think... Yeah, they're both okay plays. Pineda's only $400 more expensive, and I absolutely expect him to score much higher than Cub.
Yeah.
So I think Pineda should be in almost all of your DFS lineups. Cub is okay, but I'm not going to have him in basically any lineups.
All right, moving on to our next one here. It is Junior Dos Santos versus Cyril Gahn.
Super exciting here. Junior looked shredded, no signs of him aging. He was like 8 pounds heavier than he was at his last fight, but it all looked to be muscle, 100% muscle. Gahn also was like 6 pounds heavier, but shredded like always. This is going to be an amazing fight. Very heavy on Gahn. I don't think he shares any of the traits of a parlay buster. He's minus 400, but he's got good cardio. He doesn't take unnecessary chances. He's well-rounded. I think he can piece up JDS and he can take him down and submit him if he needs to. He's not going to Louis Cosi, gas round one. He's not round one knockout or bust or anything. You wonder, can JDS pull an Andrei Arlovsky and just use his ring IQ and veteran, knowledge to outpoint him and win a decision? That's a good question to be asking, but I don't think it applies here. Gahn, if Gahn needs to, he'll take it down, like I said. Gahn's an absolute lock. I don't think he's a lock inside the distance, though. I could see him being rather safe. Like I said, he's not boring at all, but he doesn't put himself in bad situations. I can see this one, going over 1.5. I can see this one going to decision. So I wouldn't get too tricky with your methods. You want to bring down that minus 400 cost for Gahn, but he can win all 3 ways. So I would just plug that minus 400 into parlays and don't overthink it.
Yeah. And still thinking they're both decent for DFS?
Yeah, Gahn's expensive at 9,200, but I think he's gonna pay off. And Junior at 7,000, we all know how Junior has a chance to win here via knockout. So he would, of course, be in the optimal lineup at $7,000 with a knockout. So I think they're both great plays.
Yeah. All right. Our next fight is Kevin Holland versus Jacare Souza.
Another great fight. Another one where the line is flipped. Kevin was like minus 170. Now he's like a slight underdog. He mentioned it on the scales today. So his last fight he weighed in at 182. Today was 185. Looked great. And he said, I almost thought about cutting 3 more pounds, but I saw with the betting lines, he said. So it's just funny. He's always joking. It's funny. I think it's cool, like, that he knows what the betting lines are. I just, I don't know. I just think it was cool to hear.
Yeah.
So, Souza looked shredded, looked great, right on weight as well. I was a little nervous about him because he fought at 205 in his last fight against the champ, Blakovic, before he was the champ, of course. I'm still standing by my pick of Souza. Everyone in the world just wanted to parlay like Ferguson and Figgy and Kevin Holland because we all know them so well. We're all fans of those 3 guys. And I was saying, I don't know, I'm nervous about Tony and Kevin, and the money's just continued to pour in on Souza. and as I mentioned in our longer breakdown video, Kevin Holland chooses to grapple when he needs to stand up. He took Brendan Allen down round 2 and got submitted. Charles Ontiveros landed a high kick and a heavy overhand, so Kevin wisely decided to grapple with him, slams him, and gets that slam submission, not slam KO. Weird, right? Another reminder not to get too tricky with your methods. Just pick inside the distance. So, if I had faith that Kevin would keep his distance and strike and sprawl and brawl and get up when he needs to get up, I'd be more confident in Kevin. But I think in this small octagon, everybody drink, that Souza's going to have his opportunities to get him down and should dominate there.
Yeah. And still thinking they're both okay DFS plays?
Yeah, yes. Yep. Kevin's going to score a bunch of strikes. Souza's going to get the takedowns. I think both of these guys have the finishing opportunity. Absolutely.
All right. Moving on to our next fight here. It is Genaro Moycano and Rafael.
This is such a tough one to pick. I think Fiziev, we all know how good he is. He's a Muay Thai coach at Tiger Muay Thai, or kickboxing coach at Tiger Muay Thai, sorry. Those guys are well-rounded fighters. Fiziev has fought off multiple takedowns in the recent past. He's known, for his just head movement and bobbing and weaving and evading those. I can't remember what the name of that. The lean back, like the sashimi lean or something. He's just known for his exciting striking defense. You don't hear that very often. But he's very heavy on his front foot, and Moycano's got great leg kicks. When you're just moving your whole body up, those legs are stuck in sand. I think Moycano's got the opportunity to score a bunch of leg kicks here. Moycano should have the ground edge for sure. I think this is a pick'em fight. I'm not betting on Moycano, but I haven't touched this fight one way or the other. I think the line is too wide. If this is a pick'em fight, I might pick Fiziev to fend off those takedowns and put the striking on him. But I really think this is a super sketchy one. I think they're both great DFS plays, though.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next fight here, the co-main event. It's Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira.
So excited about this one. Everyone talks about Tony Ferguson and the damage he took against Gaethje, but it's more than that. He gets hurt in all of his fights. He gets hurt, Anthony Pettis dropped him round 1. So it's not just the Gaethje fight. I give Tony a pass in that Gaethje fight because he was training for Khabib. He's training to be sprawling and brawling, jabbing, moving. And now he fights a guy who just wants to counter you with overhands and leg kicks every time you jab him. A really unfair, tough, different stylistic matchup that Tony got fed there with Justin. So I give him a pass there, but he took a ton of damage. Simple as that. He's always getting hurt and stuff. I do think Tony's going to win, but these guys have very similar styles. Charles also has great, elbows. He threw the lawnmower elbow a couple fights ago. And, if Tony gets hurt by Oliveira has the opportunity to hop down and submit him. So I've got a little bit of Tony, but I would just recommend to take it easy on him. I think they're both good DFS plays for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our main event. It is Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno.
So even though it was only 2 weeks, that we had to stack up this Figgy bank, the last 2 events we put a ton of futures with Figgy. We're getting them at minus 255, telling everyone this line was going to move. It has, of course. But I think he's a lock. He was the first one to weigh in. He looked great. Great energy and just kind of playful on the scale, doing some funny flexes and stuff. Moreno looked good. Moreno said he made weight last night, no problem. They both made weight just fine. It's going to be a great main event. I think Moreno, his style of kind of goading you into the striking, putting his hands down, putting his chin out, and trying to counter. And he doesn't just counter with an overhand. He'll counter with like a hook, high kick. He counters in combos, but he needs to draw that straight punch out of you to do that. And Figgy's not the guy for that. Brandon Moreno, when he gets you down, he leaves a lot of space. People get up when he has them down. He leaves so much space that they can get a butterfly guard, get their feet on your chest, kick off you, and roll backwards, and then they're back on their feet. To beat Figgy, you got to be able to hold him down, stay safe from his deadly submissions. I like Brandon Moreno a lot, but I think Figgy is a lock.
Yeah.
Real quick, the parlays, if you follow us on social media, you've seen them all. The biggest the biggest bet I've got of the week is just 3.5 units on Figgy inside the distance. The biggest parlay is 2 3/4 units, like 2.75 units on Figgy inside the distance plus zero gun. Next would be 2 units on Figgy moneyline, Pineda moneyline, Gone moneyline, Bilal Muhammad future. 2 units on Figgy inside the distance, Gone, and Pineda inside the distance. And so it's pretty much those, mixed around. I've got Verna and Dern to go to decision. I've got the over 1.5 in the Hooper Barrett fight. Those are the main pieces there. I had Sergey Spivak, but he's fallen out, of course. So there you have it. And we'll have a screenshot of all the parlays we're playing this week on Twitter and Instagram. It's a little tough. So, you're thinking to yourself, hey, I need some free UFC bet picks this week. Where do I go? Well, you can go on YouTube and look up free UFC bet picks. But it's tricky because on Twitter, we're at free UFC bet picks. And then on Instagram, it's at free UFC bet picks. So it's really tough to find us on social media. But we appreciate all of you guys, and thank you for how hard you work on this. And kick butt, everyone. Good luck Saturday.
Yeah, enjoy the fights. We'll see you guys next time.